Good morning and welcome to Market Opening on our brand new collab show between Business Today and India Today TV. It's just after 9 a.m. and we're here to get you ahead of the curve as markets kick off trading for the day. From the big overnight queues on Wall Street and global markets to the buzz around corporate earnings, policy moves and stock-specific action. We break it all down so you know exactly what to watch. Stay tuned as we track the sensex, nifty and the stories that will drive the market mood today. And catch us again at market closing with my colleague Sakshi Batra. We've got you covered. Let's take a look at what's hot in the corporate and financial space this morning. Wall Street soared overnight with the S&P 500 hitting a fresh record close. Tech giants led the charge. Amazon jumped over 4%, while Meta and Broadcom also gained. Investors brushed aside soft labor data, keeping focus on Friday's all-important jobs report and an expected Fed rate cut. US President Donald Trump hosted over 24 top tech leaders at a White House dinner last night. Industry heavyweights including Mark Zuckerberg, Tim Cook, Sundar Pichai and Sam Altman all praised Trump's pro-business stance, pledging massive investments in US innovation. A notable absentee was former First Buddy Elon Musk. Trump tariffs seem to be opening the doors for higher Chinese investments into India. There are reports that the government is planning to ease curbs on companies with small Chinese holdings, which currently face several restrictions. Footwear major Bata has taken the lead in passing on benefits of the GST cut. The company has launched its Bata Price Promise initiative, instantly passing on a 7% price reduction on footwear priced below 1,000 rupees by absorbing the GST rate cut, which came into effect September 22nd. Morgan Stanley expects Apple to modestly increase the iPhone 17 prices at its launch event on 9 September. It will be the first real hike by Apple for a new iPhone model since 2017. The iPhone 17 Air is expected to be priced at a premium over the current iPhone 16 Plus, while the Pro model will start at $1,099. All right, let's take a look at the market setup this morning. Global cues all positive. We're coming through on a positive move on Wall Street and Asia also green across the board this morning. Remember, markets have been watching out for news of the Fed rate cut and of course the big GST news in the domestic markets as well. Pre-open also looking steady, uptick there 0.3%. I've got Ajay Baga with me on the phone line. Let me go across to him. Always great to speak with him. He's a market veteran. And Ajay, you know what really stood out to me, and of course Shail Damania also joining us this morning. Shail, great to have you with us. We've got, let's go across to Ajay on really his views, because yesterday you were so bullish, Ajay, post the GST reform news, talking about the kind of impact we'll see in the market. And we're already seeing evidence with Bata being the first to kick off that, passing on the benefit to the consumer. What is the kind of impact you see on consumption? And with markets as well, kind of holding steady on the news, do you anticipate they're going to pick up as we close the festive season?
Yeah, definitely, Abha. Overall, if you look at the consumption pack, I spoke to across industries. I spoke to friends in senior places or industrialists. The car dealers are very enthused. I spoke to a North Delhi, one of the biggest chains, and they said we are going to see a bumper festival season with this 10% kind of pass through. They were a little worried on how the inventory would be treated, but they said we'll figure it out. I'm sure some FAQs will come out. FMCG majors are again very happy with this kind of a change. The ex-Amul MD, I was speaking to him, Mr. Sodhi, RS Sodhi ji, and he was saying about 11,000 crores is the savings that households will have on dairy items, going down to 5% or 0%. And he says that normally a 5% fall in Amul products translates into 20% more demand. That's the kind of multiplier that comes in. Real estate people welcoming the reduction in the cement GST. They said it will have a minor impact, 12 to 14% of the housing and construction cost is cement. So he said it's very welcome. for that. So across segments, I could see a lot of enthusiasm. It didn't flow through the markets. It started well, but
Yes.
the markets ended up a little on the negative side. I think that was more a function of the expiry yesterday of the sensex, and as well, a lot of it was discounted post the PM speech of August 15. But going ahead, I'm seeing a consumption boom which will have a multiplier and which will see these companies doing well.
All right. My colleague Shailendra Bhatnagar, the chief analyst and editor markets at Business Today, also with us. Shail, I want to bring you into this conversation because I know you've also been tracking Ajay's comments very closely.
Yeah, good morning to you, Abha and Ajay. A very warm welcome, Ajay. How do you see fresh money getting deployed in the markets? Any sectors that you have at the top of your mind, as also maybe some stocks that our viewers could be interested in?
Yeah, morning, Shell. I think the biggest beneficiaries, of course, the turnaround will be staples as well as durables. I was on a show with the Blue Star MD, Mr. Tyagarajan, and he was mentioning about a 10% jump in demand that he sees for air cons. Of course, most of the season is gone now, and it has been a not very great season. But he was saying with these kind of tailwinds, they should see a pickup coming ahead. So overall, I think staples, durables, these will do very well. Autos, especially on the a lower end segment, I think this will give a big boost to autos. Tractors, it was totally unanticipated. Tractors being brought down to 5%. Again, motorcycles with the strong rural demand already there. Mobikes about 60-70% get sold in semi-urban and rural areas, and the lower end mobikes are 95% of volumes. So they get a big boost with this reduction. And then if you look at a whole gamut of housing materials, construction material companies, I think all these will benefit a lot from this. Still
Right.
being analyzed to see the deeper part. I think insurance, our first thing was that life insurance and health insurance companies do benefit from higher volumes, but they are asking on the input tax credit. So maybe about one third of the GST gain will go towards ITC set-offs. We'll have to wait and watch that, but definitely there will be a volume expansion. They will be able to offer products at a cheaper price point to customers, which should see volume expansion. NBFCs are looking very good because their funding costs go down and they will have a bigger market to address. So as the consumption pool increases, overall, if you have to put it in perspective, 48,000 crores is the consumer saving over the next 6 months. Add to
Okay.
that 10% nominal growth every year. So you're looking at 52,000 crores, maybe 1 lakh crores annualized. And this is not a one-time stimulus. This is an embedded stimulus, a structural stimulus, which goes into the economy every year.
Yeah.
So it's going to have a multiplier impact going ahead as well. So not only this festive season, but as the rates stay at these levels, more purchasing power and the rupee in the consumer's pocket gets stretched. That is the basic structural story. The market understandably also is skeptical. So we didn't see moves yesterday after the opening froth that we had. But overall, I think as the numbers come in post the festive season or during the festive season, we should see that. And as the
Okay.
overall, as the new crop also starts coming in, we will see these sectors benefiting. Overall, rural demand is strong. Urban has been
Ajay?
lacking. This
Right.
might be the
Philip that we
catalyst.
need.
Yes.
great to get a comprehensive view of everything that's looking good, and markets opening on that note. 0.34% uptick this morning. Remember, we're coming off a positive move on global markets as well. Tech in play on US overnight, Asia green this morning. Nifty Bank also up about 0.2% at this point of time. IT also in the green, otherwise it's been lagging pretty much during the week. Positive sentiment across. Nifty Auto sustaining that uptick. It's been a big week for auto stocks. Nifty Consumer just about flat, but also in the green. It's a really good breadth of the market that I'm seeing on open immediately right now. Even better than possibly than we've seen over the last couple of sessions. Nifty Realty also up close to about 0.5%. The real estate play continues to look strong. Healthcare up close to 0.2% this morning, and the Nifty Metal Index also up 0.32%. Stocks like Hindustan Zinc, for example, have really been shining this week. Nifty Mid Cap 100 in the green, and a small cap as well. So like I said, the breadth is looking good this morning. It may not be some kind of runaway buying, but it's looking healthy, it's looking strong. Momentum seems to be intact, and clearly the mood seems to be intact as well. Muthoot Finance, let's bring that up for you. Let's take a look at Defense Index. Remember, a lot of outlay being planned there and acquisitions. So clearly in the news, we've got gold financing back in the buzz, has been through the week. Muthoot today also up about 0.5%, but it's at a record high, and that's what's important. Also set to benefit, of course, post those record highs that we're seeing on gold prices. Manappuram Finance also up 0.6% this morning. So we're seeing some move coming in there. Let's bring up Adani Power for you as well. We're going to talk a little bit more about that stock post the stock split. But this morning, let's take a look at how it's trending on your screens. And of course, let's take a look at auto as well. Adani Power just flat. We'll come back and talk about it in a moment. Let's pull up some of those auto names. Escorts, M&M. We've been tracking them for you through the week. Nifty Autos up about 10% this month. Let's take a look at how some of these names are doing today. Ashok Leyland 1.5%, but let's bring up Escorts, let's bring up M&M. Bajaj Auto also positive. As Ajay was saying, two-wheelers are set to benefit, especially on the lower end. We're seeing the low income boost coming in, of course, on consumption and ahead of festive season. Tata Motors up 0.3%, and TVS Motor, so all the two-wheeler stocks there, but I'm still waiting on Escorts and M&M. The tractor play is also what I want to address in the markets today, and to take a look at how some of those names are doing. Escorts still up about 1%. Remember, it's been moving all week. It was particularly the strongest move post the GST news, and set to benefit on the rural consumption play as well. We've also got a good monsoon coming in for some of those counters. We've got reduced cuts coming in. So all of that feeding into some of these names. Ashok Leyland, add that to the basket as well, up about 1.5% there. So that's really looking good for you when it comes to the auto names, financials, insurance. Let's pull up some of those names as well and just take a look and see how they're supporting the markets this morning. And I'm also going to go across to Shell. Shell, some of the top movers that you're spotting, and also the key names that you anticipate are going to remain in news this morning.
I think about two stocks that require mention are Mahindra and Mahindra. The reasons that you mentioned were very clear. You have a good monsoon. You have the GST cut playing in. And of course, it's the rate cut that had happened by the RBI earlier. So all of that is getting priced into stocks like Mahindra and Mahindra, fresh record high. In fact, if you look at the past 5-day performance, M&M is the top performer, with a 9% rally, and also Bajaj Finance, as Ajay was very, very rightly mentioning. NBFCs are going to be one of the biggest beneficiaries of this GST rate cut, simply because a lot of consumers will come back to showrooms and get all these articles like air conditioners, like ACs, like smaller cars, bikes, and all financed by the country's largest NBFC, which is Bajaj Finance. This also is up about 7-8% in the past 5 trading sessions. Getting in Ajay into the conversation. One very quick view on Bajaj Finance, Ajay. Is this something or a stock that is going to benefit because of an early Diwali on Dalal Street?
Yeah, Shell, I'm constrained in not speaking on particular stocks, but if you look at NBFCs across housing finance, we see the basic demand driving it, and what you mentioned, the RBI rate cuts are helping a lot. Most of these NBFCs are wholesale funded. They have some amount of retail core liabilities as well, but mostly they borrow on the wholesale market where the prices have been going down, their cost of funds are going down. Yesterday, if you see a truck finance major from the south, spoke about seeing revenues, the revenue guidance, it up from 15% to 18% on the back of these GST cuts. So overall, the lenders will benefit. NBFCs will benefit faster. Even the fintechs who are into lending, because it's the festive season coming up and the base demand goes up, that will see even the fintechs benefit there. Most of them are unlisted, so not very relevant to public market discussions. But their loans are then downsold to NBFCs and banks. So the whole ecosystem is going to benefit. And the top NBFCs, I would say, are amongst the best buys right now. So the top 4 or 5 NBFCs across sectors can be looked at.
Absolutely. Ajay, one more question for you. How would you advise our viewers to look forward to the next 6 months to 1 year, given that you've had a 100 basis point rate cut by the RBI? Earlier, the finance minister had given a bonanza on income tax cuts, and now, of course, these GST cuts. Is Diwali coming in early? Do you see the market hitting a new high in calendar 2025?
Calendar, yes. I don't know because Diwali is, October 21st, 22nd. So we don't have too much time for that. And there are pockets of very strong resistance on the indices. Again, Shell, the issue with the index is IT. IT underperforming. Then we have had banks underperform, financials underperform. That has taken 50% of our market into an underperformance zone. I think with these GST cuts, we will see a slow and steady recovery in banks. Rest of the financial pack also should see a recovery. IT is probably some time away. So I would say definitely by calendar year, we should again revisit last September's highs. The good news is 12 months, for 12 months, we have just treaded water. And these markets have really underperformed versus emerging markets and developed markets both. Normally, when you get this level of underperformance, the next 12 months start looking quite good. So we have spent 12 months marking time around these levels and below the all-time highs. I think the next 12 months could be quite significant. Yesterday, Shell, I was on another program and where, the Prime Minister's Economic Advisory Committee member mentioned something very significant. He said that under Rajiv Gauba, the former Secretary Government of India, 2 committees are now working on deregulation and looking at ease of doing business. So the government is really looking at that deregulation part very closely. You have the Jan Vishwas bill already before Parliament. 357 amendments are there which decriminalize most small time misdemeanors. So things like that are also coming. But overall, just on our fundamentals, I would bet 12 months from now, we would be at a good position with these markets. We have really underperformed and we are set now to outperform over the next 12 months.
Okay, amazing. Let's take a look at some of the top movers today. Got lots of action coming in the markets. Let's pull up some individual stocks for you and see where some of that action is happening. We've got Sterlite on the move this morning. We've got a bunch of the financials on the move as well. There you have it. A whole host of gainers across the broader markets as well. Nifty 50, almost everything close to 1% up. We've got the Nifty 500 also on the move this morning. So we're definitely seeing, a better start than was indicated perhaps even in the pre-open. Strong moves coming in on the index names as well as the broader markets name. SKF is up 5%. Got RBL Bank on the move, Godrej Agro, and remember the entire rural and agro theme is set to play out as well. We got a whole host of new highs coming in. Real estate stocks, DLF for example, examples, up close to 2%. New highs, M&M, we've been discussing. Muthoot, we've been discussing. We've got LTF also. Anand Rathi is also, red on the screen, but it's actually at a new high right now. So lots of action coming in there. Trent is up close to 1%. Again, the retail play over there. Asian Paints looking good. SBI Life, we've been discussing some of those financial names, insurance names. Shriram Finance, again moving well. Auto across the board. Geofin also moving up about 0.6%. And Lasna Tubro Finance, that's the one as well at a new high coming in there. So you can see some of the clear themes that are playing out, as well as the fact that sentiment overall seems to be, spreading into the breadth of the market as well. We're almost towards the end of the show, so I do want to take some closing comments from Ajay, and I also want to get a note on Adani Power from Shell. Let's try and squeeze this in. Ajay, before I let you go, I know you've given us an outlook for the next 6 months, but just a closing comment from you. The market's looking really good today.
No, market will do better, Abha, and what we are waiting, a Diwali gift from Trump also. If he removes the punitive 25%, then this market will just rock on. So right now, what's holding back sentiment is the US tariff. It's not that big in the whole scheme of things, but it spoiled sentiments to some extent. I think that will happen, whether it happens by November or pre-Diwali, let's see. But it is going to come. Yesterday also, Piyush Goyal mentioned that they are looking at a November timeline for a BTA. It will eventually happen. Ukraine has to settle down. Russia also will want to settle it. So that will be one catalyst. Otherwise, we wait for earnings recovery, which again, this quarter, the last quarter gone by has been the bottom. From here on, green shoots are already there. You will see a good September. And then as these GST cuts come in, consumer consumption picks up, you will see a much better last quarter of the calendar year. So recovery is coming, but it could be hastened if Trump removes this 25%.
Okay, great. Ajay, thanks so much for joining us this morning. Absolutely fantastic to have you with us and give us a perspective on how things stand. Adani Power has seen, the shareholders approve a stock split. It's a 5-to-1 stock split, and the record date hasn't yet been announced, but it has come through in the exchange filing. Let's go across to Shell on this. Shell, what does this mean for Adani Power? Clearly, it's a liquidity injection. Clearly, it's to attract retail investors. Will it make sense for retail investors to look at this?
Absolutely, Abha. 2 or 3 points that I'd like to mention on Adani Power. This is the best performing power stock in the BSE Power Index on a year-to-date basis, which is in 2025, it's up about 50-odd%. And yes, the reason for this stock split is very simple. If you have 100 shares of Adani Power, you will have now 500 after the record date comes into effect. And it essentially means from about 610 rupees, the stock will now go down to somewhere like 130, 140. Remember, the all-time high for Adani Power was somewhere like 850 rupees, which we saw in June of 2024. So the stock becomes a little more affordable for investors, as also the fact that the fundamentals of Adani Power are really very strong. If you look at how there is a brokerage called Incred, they have a price target of about 650 on Adani Power, and they hope that operating profit of Adani Power between FY25 to 28 will improve by 11% each year. As you and I were talking about Adani Power before markets opened, they also have permission from the government to get their Dharauli mine in Madhya Pradesh operational, which essentially means fuel security. There is a lot of expansion in the pipeline, somewhere to the tune of 3.2 gigawatts, of which 2.5 gigawatt is coming in Bihar, where elections are supposed to be held in November. So all told, this was one of those very high beta user-friendly stocks for shareholders, and maybe you'll again see a lot of momentum coming back in Abha.
Great. Thanks so much for that, Shell. And with that, we close this edition of the Business Today show. Do stay tuned on India Today for a lot more news and catch up again at market closing with my colleague Sakshi Batra. Markets, of course, kicked off on a really good note today. We'll keep tracking all of those key moves for you as we count down.